Hey, good evening, good evening, my people. What's up? Hope and trust that all is good. It's been a while, but as I say all the time, I'm going to only come on here when I figure there is an opinion I want to share that I believe makes a difference and could probably generate some conversation to the betterment of the country. So that is the situation. Why I wasn't on for, just watching everything, seeing what's happening, and following the situation here nationally. This morning, when I checked through the news, um, I came upon a video coming out of South Africa, where apparently South Africa has given immigrants, undocumented immigrants, up until the 30th of this month, that is tomorrow, to leave the country. I'm going to post that video on my pages just now after I load up this video here so that you'll get an understanding as to what I'm talking about. And you could just go to YouTube and put it in the search engine there, current immigrant situation in South Africa, and you will get an idea as to what is happening. When I saw the video this morning, my mind ran back to the UK. Um, you know my position on the US situation. Trump was re-elected on a mandate to close down the borders, which for the most part have been done. Um, the UK is in the throes of dealing with that now, where the Reform Party and the newly constituted Conservative Party, they're pro closing down their borders and looking at immigration and sorting that issue out. Um, And when I saw this thing in Africa, South Africa, I said, okay, around here we get the talk about people saying, oh, we're all Africans and blah, 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 blah. But this is what is happening in South Africa. People can go and look and see for themselves. I was listening to part of the Prime Minister's program this morning from what the program that he had on Saturday. And there's a piece that when I heard it, I just said to myself, why bother? You know what I mean? Why bother? He was speaking to the situation where America wants for us to accept some third-party deportees. Um, we have heard the Prime Minister say some things that, for my mind, that's all. We just heard it. Until we can read something to understand exactly what's happening, I have long past taking people words or politician words for certain things. Um, it's sad. It's sad, or at least I find it sad when I hear the Prime Minister speak. I'm actually ashamed because I, for one, am knowledgeable of the history of this country. And I encourage persons to do their research. The information is right there in front of you. Um, when the powers to be put certain things in front of VC Bird and his team back in the 1930s, they didn't say we're not in a position. They said, no, 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 no. This is what we want for Antigua and Barbuda. And they went about getting it sorted out. Where we owned our lands. Well, what we have now is another story. I'm going to do another video on that because I observe some things happening and I see it setting the stage for some confrontation. Let's say 20 years on the line. I might not be here at that time, but future generations will have it to deal with. But that's a story, or that's going to be a debate or a video for another time. As I said, I was listening to the Prime Minister, and this is what the Prime Minister said in relation to the discussion that America is having with them, and maybe according to him, it's not really a discussion, is the demands that's being pushed on him. He says, we are not in a position, obviously, to say that we can't take any. That is the deportees. No, I don't know why we're not in a position to say that we're not taking any. I think Antigua and Barbuda is a sovereign country. and if something is to the detriment of the country, I don't see how a third party country, the United States in this regard, can say to us, we have no say in this, in this our sovereign country. That is what our prime minister is saying. And this is why I said to myself, why bother? And I smiled. Because when he's saying that, I am remembering what VC Byrne and his team said in 1930s coming forward. And they didn't sit back. They certainly didn't sit back. But I guess it's a difference in leadership. We are not in a position, obviously, to say that we can't take any. But I think that we can take the moral high ground on the issue of criminality, or if they're going to send people here who are extremely ill. So we have asked them to ensure they have no criminal background. They must do the due diligence and let us know whether or not they have any criminal background, whether or not they have any illness, so they must send their health information as well. The only crime that we will accept in terms of any criminal wrongdoing is that they have some immigration violation. Is if they have some immigration violation. Let me repeat that. The only crime that we will accept in terms of any criminal wrongdoing is if they had some immigration violation. And we have always been very soft on that issue. Yeah, thousands of CARICOM nationals and other nationals who come here annually, and generally speaking, we don't criminalize them. If anything, we integrate them by having regularized them and integrate them by having these amnesties. So for us, we don't consider that a criminal offense. This is what the Prime Minister is saying. For us, his government, it is not a criminal offense for nationals, CARICOM and others to come here, violate our immigration laws. We don't see that as being criminal. So then, if you don't see that as being criminal, Mr. Prime Minister, why don't you just repeal the law? Why don't you just repeal the law? Why bother have a law, Mr. Prime Minister, if that is what you're saying to the country? And we wonder why we are how we are in this country. Who is being integrated outside of the Dominicans and the minority of Jamaicans? Who is being integrated into this country? The Spanish. When the Haitians go over there, the Spanish certainly see their immigration thing as being a big problem. But then what we turn on and do with the Spanish when they come here? You know, it is just a joke, in my opinion. It is just a joke. So when I saw the video in South Africa, and when I heard what the Prime Minister said, what I just read back to you, I just have to smile. And I can't but... What word could I use? So what phrase could I use? I can't but be sad when these radio idiots have as priority number one Pringle. That's their priority number one. Pringle. I want to be leader. This should be leader. That is their priority number one. And look what the Prime Minister is saying to the country. Boy, what a bunch of fools, in my opinion. Until we come together again, my people, bless up. I'm going to post the South Africa video, as I said. And there's some other things that the Prime Minister said that I found quite interesting, that I'm sure I'll deal with in the hours and days to come. God granted life. Take care, my people. Bless up until we come together again.